I knew something was wrong the moment I opened a child's x-ray and saw nothing but rows of full-grown molars stacked behind each other like someone had planted them in neat, dirty rows. Worse, it appeared that they had been fused to the jawbone. You don't forget a picture like that. And yet there it was, smiling at me in ghostly grayscale on my monitor at 7:12 a.m., long before we'd seen a single patient, stamped with our clinic ID, our machine type, and my username. I'd been at Oak Ridge Dental for 14 months, long enough to know our software is janky, our machines are old, and our dentist, Dr. Alan Harlan, is the kind of man who notices if you organize cotton rolls in the wrong direction. But nothing prepared me for that first image. I clicked it closed, reopened it, and it stayed the same. A child's jaw filled from hinge to hinge with thick adult molars lined up like soldiers. I kept checking the sensor ID, hoping this was my mistake, that I'd typed something wrong, pulled up the wrong file, anything that made this my fault instead of whatever it actually was. "Jenna," called into the hallway, "you need to see this." Jenna popped her head in, chewing gum as usual. "Please don't be a cracked sensor again. Harlan will peel me alive." I pivoted the monitor toward her. She looked at it, froze, gum tucked in her teeth. "What the hell is that?" "That's what I'm asking. You didn't take that, did you?" I know, I didn't." "Does Harlan have some old case file?" she asked, lowering her voice, like stuff he doesn't want anyone seeing. It wasn't the first time she'd hinted. Harlan was notoriously private about anything before Oak Ridge, and he was weird about certain files. We'd mostly chalked it up to him being tightly wound, maybe hiding an embarrassing malpractice suit the way some people hide porn. I minimized the window, trying to shake it off, and went back to clearing space on the server. That's when I saw it, a folder I'd never noticed. Archive, prior patients, do not modify. The do not modify part practically begged me to click it, so of course I did. The next image loaded slowly, line by line, like a printer choking on a photograph, and then it appeared. A jaw with every single front tooth missing, replaced by smooth, perfect gum, as if nothing had ever grown there. Not torn, not surgically removed, just a blank slate of something that had never existed. My stomach dropped. Jenna whispered, "That's gotta be him. Some nightmare case he did before he moved here." I responded, "He would have told us." She looked at me as if I'd just declared that the tooth fairy was real. Please, he can barely admit he had a wife once. I forced a laugh, but my hands shook. Another file, another impossible image, a mouth where every tooth had the exact same hairline crack running down the middle. Like someone took a hammer to a perfect row of ceramics, tapped once, and walked away. Another file. The tongue area showed a large black gap, as if the patient's tongue had been entirely removed. I shivered and tried not to let Jenna see. Lunch break came and went without either of us touching food. I kept flipping through images, each one worse than the last. A man's upper teeth growing downward from the roof of his mouth. Lower teeth pointed upward from below, both sets converging like a closing steel trap. A girl's molars shaped into smooth pebbles. A teenager's gums covered in what looked like nail marks. That one horrified me. Everyone time-stamped with our clinic ID, but none taken by us. We brought Harlan in. He walked in briskly, irritated already. "What's the problem?" he said. I pointed. He adjusted his glasses and squinted. For a long, uncomfortable moment, he said nothing. Then he straightened his coat. "This is not a real case." "Obviously," Jenna snapped. "What is it?" "Probably leftover test images from the old software vendor. They occasionally bundle teaching files." "You've told us that 100 times, Jenna said, but these are labeled with our machine ID. "That's a bug," he said, without hesitation. Without hesitation. We watched him drag the folder to the trash. "Done. That solves it," he said. But the next morning, the folder was back, as if it had regenerated. Identical, down to the last byte, as if nothing had ever been deleted. Jenna burst into my room shaking. They're back, all of them. I opened the directory. Hundreds of files stared back. Worse, new ones had seemed to appear overnight. One of them showed an arrangement of teeth that made my skin crawl. Tiny, needle-sharp incisors lining the upper throat, positioned exactly where a pill or piece of food would pass, waiting. Another showed a cheek puffed outward with what looked like a handful of teeth crammed beneath the skin, like someone had poured them into a pocket like sunflower seeds, then sewn it shut. And another, a vertical mouth, a slit running down the center of a face packed with flat, grinding teeth like a zipper. When Harlan came in, he boggled at the monitor. "What is this?" he whispered. "You tell us," Jenna said. "I've never seen anything like..." And he stopped. "What?" I asked. His face went gray. "Some of these look familiar." I responded, "You just said you've never seen..." And he cut me off. "Not the images, the patterns." His voice cracked. "Years ago, before Oak Ridge, we almost closed. I sold a set of anonymized patient x-rays. Everyone was doing it. The startup needed real cases to train an AI that could detect rare problems. They said it would help future dentists." "You sold patient data?" Jenna hissed. "It was legal," he shot back. "Anonymous, zero identifiers, shapes, teeth, pathologies." "So these are your patients?" I asked. "No, these aren't anyone's patients," he said. He braced himself on the desk. "These look like exaggerations, mutations, like the model tried to build rare cases from scratch and didn't know when to stop." He scrolled slowly, painfully through more images. A double mouth, one jaw layered over another, slightly misaligned so that the teeth still interlocked like gears. The skull missing half of its brain structure down the center, yet the teeth floated in perfect arcs as though bone were optional. And another one that seared itself into my memory. A throat lined with sharp, serrated teeth like something evolved to feed on its own swallowing. Harlan covered his mouth and gasped. "These aren't real. They're synthetic. And somehow they got tied to our clinic ID." "Why?" Jenna whispered. He stared bleakly at the screen. "Someone at that company must have my or our data set," he exhaled shakily. "But these images, they're essentially medical hallucinations. They feel a lot like twisted art or impossible case studies or a machine's idea of what a rare case might look like." He swallowed. "I don't remember exactly what the disclosure said. I'm not even sure I saved the paperwork. It was years ago. But somehow we're connected to whatever they were building, and I don't know why our system would be pulling any of this in. And he stopped. Silence fell over the room, heavy and nauseating. "So what do we do?" I asked. Harlan straightened slowly, like someone waking up from surgery. "We stick together. This isn't on us. We were never supposed to see any of this, and we all know that it's not real, and we'll figure it out." We spent the evening clearing every local copy, backing up legitimate files, and drafting a stern message to the vendor demanding answers. Jenna unplugged the network cable. We scrubbed logs. For the first time, the three of us felt aligned, like survivors of the same shipwreck. When we finally shut the lights off, I felt certain the nightmare was done. But just before leaving, I glanced one more time at the monitor. And to my horror, a new file folder sat on the desktop. Out of fear, anger, and curiosity, I clicked to open it, and then clicked again because our computer sucks and doesn't work right the first time. And inside of the folder was a single file. "Generated, awaiting match," was the title. I opened it. Just a normal adult mouth, a normal jaw, normal teeth, normal everything. Except the metadata said appointment tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. No patient ID, no name, nothing. Harlan stepped beside me. "We cleared our machine," he whispered, "but somewhere out there, the originals still exist." The monitor reflected the three of us in blue light, silent and afraid. "Whatever made these," he said, "is still making them." I shut down the computer. The monitor fan whined as it powered off, a thin mechanical breath fading into the dark. We cleaned the files off of our machine, But somewhere out there, our patients' mouths were still being rearranged for practice.